NSC, Fan TV, Scott, Drew, after a 1-0 victory over Qatar in the Gold Cup.
So we want to talk about that game. We want to talk about the Gold Cup. We want to talk about the Mexico-Canada game that came afterwards. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the U.S. Women's Olympics game. So a lot of international stuff. So so let's talk. I mean, most of this is going to be about the U.S. men's team in the Gold Cup. We'll save the talk about the women's squad for the quarter or the semifinals game after this.
After this, yeah.
Okay, so
where do we start?
Where do we start?
I can start with the start of the game.
Yeah, Berhalter. First off, Berhalter just having Zardes on the bench. I just want to say, why is Jesse Zardes on the bench? Jesse Zardes on the bench when DK is clearly injured.
Yeah.
And was dragging all game. And it took to what, 70th, 75th minute?
Well, really? Yeah. So I guess we start with the lineup. And
let's start.
It wasn't. Yeah, so Zardes being on the bench first is just doesn't make sense, especially because DK early on, right, had some really weird plays where he just wasn't in the right position, right? He wasn't where he needed to be.
Like his shoulder was hurting him.
And also just in terms of his football IQ, his soccer IQ, Zardes is just. He knows where to be, and he has more of an eye towards the game, right? And so what's going on?
It's the pounce.
Yeah. He knows when to jump too. Yeah,
man.
I mean, and DK just kind of, hobbles around and isn't sure where he needs to be. And Zardes is exactly where he needs to be.
DK is a little bit more patient. I think that he's a little bit more used to having folks finding him instead of him creating chances for himself. Zardes.
Yeah.
Zardes will also come back a little bit. He'll dig a little bit more.
I was going to say.
So it's a little bit more of an active player. Again, I don't think that we saw the best of DK in the last couple of games. And so I hope that is not representative of the game that he'll have.
Especially not this game. I mean, well, even early on, too. So in the back, Sands. That was probably his worst game.
Honestly, and the penalty he gave. Dude got smoked. I mean, and then got chopped.
He just got chopped. I was going to say he chopped in and got nothing but boot. He got nothing ankle or boot, or he just chopped in, and it was...
And at first, whenever I first saw it, I was like, he got ball.
I was going to say, it looked like he did.
Got nowhere near the ball.
VAR is here to stay. VAR is here to stay. You go back and look at it, and they show it from the different angles, and you're like, okay, he did not... No ball at all.
Completely chopped it. He completely chopped.
And he was getting beat all game, really.
Yeah,
I think he was getting beat all game.
I think that he's maybe a little slow-footed. I think that he was also playing a little bit scared because I think that he was afraid of the ball going over the top and not being able to chase. So he was playing a little scared and playing off.
Yeah. But even before that, actually, because that was the start of the second half. Right?
Yeah, that's right. It was a little later.
In the first half, though, if I remember correctly, he almost scored an own goal. If it wasn't for
that ball came in and skips off his.
It skips it, and he's like you said, he's got a slow foot.
Yeah,
I think that it comes down to exactly what you said. He just has a slow foot. It just happened, and he had no idea it was going to go in until, and Master Matt comes out and saves it.
Turner just like cat-like reflexes, it's kind of going over here and then
Yeah, he saved us.
He
saved us. So I guess we start with
a superb game.
I was gonna say that was an amazing game for him because that could have gone. It could have gone like 2-1 maybe if he wasn't there. I mean, not even counting the penalty.
Right. So cool. He did go opposite side penalty wise, but but in some ways kind of patient because he kind of both sides were waiting it out.
Yeah.
And if you're planning on Panenka, the goalkeeper has to jump.
They've got to commit. Yeah.
The goalkeeper has to, and if the goalkeeper doesn't jump, Panenka doesn't work. And
well, it also doesn't work if you kick out. You're aiming for the stands. It also doesn't work.
That was terrible.
It was terrible.
By the way, if you take a Panenka, you deserve to miss and lose. I think that Panenka is just such a hot shot.
Yeah.
Showing up the goalkeeper move.
Yeah. It's trying to be cute.
It's too cute. And you just. So yeah, years ago I yelled at it, and he's nailed it. I mean, not nailed it. He put away the Panenka, and I still yelled at him. I was like,
why are you doing
what kind of a
this?
jerk are you? What kind of a jerk are you?
Yeah,
right?
it's about you when you take a Panenka. And he was the captain too. They're 10.
Right. Yeah, they're 10.
Yeah, they're 10. He was the captain.
Alhaidos.
And
yeah, gave us a gift.
it gave us. I was gonna say, yeah. Turner's face after he saved it though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh my God.
yeah. Well, he didn't save it after Alhaidos skied it. Turner was like, perfect.
Nice.
I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, it's exactly. I just had to hold on.
Yeah, but he did commit.
He did commit to the left.
Did commit,
He did go.
He did go left,
but it did. But it was only once Alhaidos had his foot back and was even
was
connecting
already,
with the ball.
Yeah.
So
that was shameful, honestly. I mean, if you take it, I mean, I don't know about the statistics here. You know, I don't have numbers in front of me.
I don't know. Yeah.
But I mean, the conversion rate has to be low for that.
But it seems to me that like if you're gonna, it seems to me that even if you're gonna Panenka, even if you're gonna do that, you still have to put some oomph on the ball, because we've seen Panenkas. We saw
yeah, I think
it's the Man City forward pulled the Panenka. I'm forgetting his name.
I'm forgetting his name too.
But anyhow, he did the Panenka, and he put too light a touch on it. The keeper got beat. Got up!
I was going to say, and came back and then because if you don't put any power on it, it's already hard to take a pen and have it go like in the top of the net, let alone to have it, chip over and just sail right in.
It's a long way for a chip to go.
Yeah.
Like a good goalkeeper can get on the ground and get back up and snap it down.
Especially if he's watching carefully. You go down and you realize it's not going either which way. It's straight.
Right.
Get back up and save it. I'm trying to remember his name.
Aguero.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I've said his names like this.
Yeah.
Aguero. So many times.
He didn't need to do that. No, I remember that. Yeah. Pep was furious.
Yes, as well he should have been.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the Panenka. We talked about Sand's penalty.
Okay.
And he seemed a little bit out of sorts in the back.
I was gonna say he didn't even. I don't think he ended up coming off, but
no,
I was thinking he had the worst game of the entire cup.
Yeah, both center backs, Sands and Robinson stayed on the whole game.
Yeah.
Robinson had an acceptable game. Didn't get seriously beat. Did a lot of corralling there. They had a really fast forward that I think that Robinson spent most of his time kind of corralling.
Actually, that's right.
Yeah. And then Vines was coming back and helping out. And he's a good worker. I haven't seen what kind of quality he's got. You know what I mean? But I see him run.
I was gonna say he's always had it. Yeah, he's got the right character for it.
Yeah, that's the right play. They're playing him. Bearhalter's playing him in the right place.
Yeah.
But yeah, he looks more like, I see him play and I'm like, it's more like the United States just has a cross country runner.
He's everywhere.
He's kicking the ball. He kicks the ball here and there and gets involved in some defense, but it's like he's more like a cross country runner who's suiting up for a national team.
Yeah,
I'd like to see more from him though.
His heat map was probably insane.
Yeah, right.
I mean, because he really was everywhere.
Yeah, he was. He was involved in so much stuff and defensively. Yeah. So I mean, kudos to him. Again, I like Charlie Hustle guys. Like to see a little more quality.
I think it's the right disposition for it too.
Yeah.
They're going for it. Yeah, they're not just letting things happen around them.
So we were, and so you wanted also to talk about. So we were talking about DK, and then we had a problem with DK's, you might say, consistent effort levels in the front, and you'd seen him and Areola have a problem.
Actually, yeah, I guess they just forgot about the offside rule at a point. I think that they just forgot about that one, because we had a few chances like early on where I thought, this is it, we're gonna go up 1-0, and then from here it's gonna be up, because we saw the bench, we saw Zardes on the bench. I mean, automatically for me that was questionable. But I thought, well, I mean, if we go up 1-0 now and we have Zardes in the pocket for later,
right,
then this won't be an issue, right?
Right.
But the way DK was playing, it's almost like he didn't want to score.
Yeah.
I mean, and Areola just on that right wing being offside. I mean,
yeah, I keep thinking that Areola's game has got more positives than negatives. I need to see more.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I did not see from Areola what I wanted to see. I thought, and by the way, I think that of our midfielders, Busio and Acosta,
I was gonna
both had acceptable games. But I would say that for the first maybe 30 minutes, Acosta was completely shut out.
Yeah,
like they had somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they had somebody like Acosta would collect, and the guy's just like, I'm in your shorts, bro.
I'm nailed down.
I'm on you.
Yeah.
And Acosta wasn't able to create much. He didn't run away from this. Maybe there was a kind of a trade-off because Busio was allowed to have a little bit more space because of it.
I was about to mention that. Yeah.
So maybe there was a kind of a, you know what? I'll take the one-on-one marking if that takes that.
If it takes men off of Busio, because Busio for Sporting KC, very creative midfielder.
Right.
For Sporting KC, takes all the spot kicks. For us, came on. Pretty much, I think he took we had, 2 corners?
Took a lot of the corners, from what I can remember.
He took that one big chance, that the spot kick.
Spot kick coming from the right.
Yeah, where I thought that was a good chance.
Could have been.
I thought that was a nice dip on the ball. So Busio is he's getting his chance to shine, honestly, because of that.
I think so.
I mean, Costa took a hit that game, but I thought Busio looked pretty good.
Yeah, I think I think Berhalter, I think, wanted the ball to go through Acosta, and I think that the Qatar's coach or Qatar, whoever was in charge of Qatar's defensive setup was just like, we're going to just strangle the U.S. at that point right there.
Yeah.
And so,
it worked because our formation too. I mean, we played a 4-3-3, and I thought the 4-3-3 made sense though. The reason why is because it meant that you could easily pick and drop people out, right? Because I knew we'd have to go to the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as I saw Zardes on the bench, I had a feeling we'd go to.
Yeah, we have to have him out there. What are we doing?
I was gonna say, first off, we're gonna need to make some big subs, but the subs came in the 60th or something.
They came in
after the penalty. After we gave up the penalty, and he took all 3 of our forwards out. Berhalter took out Hoppy.
Hoppy came
off the left wing, right? He took out, of course, DK.
Yeah, DK came off. Hoppy had a good game.
I was gonna say that cross from the zipped in, but that parabolic.
Yeah.
Did you see that? I mean, he absolutely deleted defenders with that cross.
Yeah.
I think 2 guys got just beat out.
And just got beat out, right? And it got in front of them and then onto a foot.
Yeah.
It was onto DK's foot. Right?
I was going to say it was DK. That was the next step, and DK just flubbed it up. If that was anyone else, they would have buried it. I think it was just him and the keeper. All he had to do was kind of chip it, you know?
I think that he was more... I think that... Because he was having a motor. So
that is true. Maybe he was
in his defense. He had to be top speed motoring onto that, and I think that the objective was get a foot on it and have it on frame. So he did both.
He did do both,
but he put it right in. He put it right into the keeper's basket.
That was a Hoppy would have been incredible though, because it really it
was so perfect.
The way it curved it. Yeah. Oh, that was beautiful. Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I thought, "Whew, this is why people are talking about Hoppy."
Yeah.
That's why Matthew Hoppy is the talk of the town. I mean, I think him.
He's clearly incredibly fast.
Yeah, he's fast.
He's a hard worker. Works to get open. He does seem to come back a little bit. I don't know if that's a problem with his game or not. I feel like we need to have somebody who's going to be a kind of a point person. If we're going to have somebody like Hoppy up in front, have him standing next to one of their center backs and just being like, put it over the top.
Put it.
Run it.
I'll
run on.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that left foot is beautiful, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. That's why he's the talk of the town. He plays for Schalke, right?
I don't know where he's playing.
I think he's at Schalke, because most of that...
He's playing in the red, white, and blue right now. That's all I care
about. Red, white, blue, yeah. But most of our players are MLS, too.
Yeah, right.
Most of the dudes out there were MLS.
Yeah. So, it was sometimes kind of hard to root for some of them, because it's like rooting for Jossie Zardes, and I'm like, man, he knocked us the hell out of the playoffs last year. I don't like him too much, but when he's wearing red, white, and blue, I'll root for him. But
and then Turner for Revolution too.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you can't get anything past him.
Watching that guy play goal. I mean,
you can't
have that great a goal. He didn't have that great a game when he came to Nashville. But
no. But for us, red, white, and blue, he was stopping everything.
He looked great.
I mean, I think he looked that. Honestly, for me, that's the man of the match. I know Zardes came on and got the goal,
and it was a really, really nice goal.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember who the assist was from. So
was it Giacchini?
Giacchini's.
Yeah, I think it was
It was kind of a really canny bit of play.
Why was he starting?
Another one of these really canny players. thought that he had a nice 20 or so minutes.
Yeah.
And again, the assist to Zardes was really canny because I think there was a no-look pass, wasn't it?
I think so.
I think that he was looking.
I think
he kind of stared down the keeper
looking.
and was looking at the near post and went,
bing! He just binked it. Yep. Yep. Well, and then too, speaking of the subs, right? So you have Gini, can't say his name right. Of course you had Zardes come on.
So we had someone come on.
Hoppy came off too.
Hoppy came off.
He took.
Moore was replaced by Cannon.
That's right. Moore came off. That's right.
Williamson came on for Areola, and Busio was replaced by Roldan, who I thought also had nice. Yeah, Busio came off.
I think we had a yellow in the back, so that's probably why.
That might have been it.
I think, yeah.
And I thought Roldan had a nice game. I didn't see a lot from Williamson. And I thought, Shaq Moore is just such a. Yeah, I just love his game. I love his game.
Say,
but you know what? I think that it was a like for like, and I thought that Cannon had an admirable 15-20 minutes there. Was involved in a lot of stuff. But man, Shaq, I just love watching that guy play. He's a smart player, really skilled in spaces in smart ways. I like his game.
Yeah,
I like his game.
I think the subs though. I mean, of course you have the conundrum if you start DK's gonna come off, right? Because you got Zardes on the bench, but I don't know if Hoppy should have came off. I'm not sure if Hoppy should have
Hoppy
came
seemed
off.
angry, if I remember correctly. Did he?
He was frustrated.
He came over, and I think that even Berhalter had to be like, "Go sit down, bud."
Yeah, you're off now.
I'm
the coach. Yeah, but Hoppy, he was on his game.
Put a towel on his head.
That's right. He was frustrated. But I like to see that though. I think you and I have talked about that.
I think I disagree with you on this.
I like to see players frustrated to come off because it means they.
I'm okay seeing them frustrated come off, but like that's childish, isn't it?
Okay.
That's like middle school tantrum bullshit. Like
you took me off.
I
wanted to score. It's like we're trying to win.
Yeah, we're trying to win here, bud.
It's not about you. It's about
and especially if you're in the front, especially if you're in the front, run your goddamn legs off.
Yeah.
And put in 70 hard minutes,
and
then you've done your job because
that's the strategy.
Having someone in the front angry coming off,
yeah,
you're like that. You're surprised that you're in the front and you're getting subbed off?
You were running your hardest for 70. Right now, it's time for...
Yeah, that's
I think that makes sense.
It's weird to me.
Let me justify it, though.
Okay,
Here's my justification.
Okay, so I've said my piece.
Right, it's that when a player's angry to come off, not all the time, but when it's a player who's hustling, like Hoppy, who's got their eye on the goal, right, and I see them coming off and I see them frustrated, it means they want them to do their best, right? And it means they were playing their best, they were trying, and they're frustrated because they felt like they still had more to contribute to the game. Yeah. Right, so when I see that, I'm like, I like that. When it turns and veers into childishness though, with like tone on the head, then it's different.
Yeah, having to get told to go to the bench. So I agree
having
with
to get
you.
told to go to the bench. That was far. Yeah,
I agree.
Berhalter was like,
go sit down.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think that players should always feel like they've got something left in the tank, and that's good training. Like in some ways, getting to minute 65, 70. And you're getting pulled, and you're like, "But coach, I still have something left.
I still have juice in the tank."
And the answer is good.
That's perfect. As a forward, especially, that's perfect.
Good.
Yeah. But it's time.
Now go sit down. Right. There's somebody else who's completely topped up and can run hard for 20 minutes. You're gonna have to take little breaks.
Yeah.
So I like his game. I think he's still got some growing up to do.
His attitude isn't the greatest. He's only 22. I mean, his attitude is pretty bad, actually.
Okay.
And also, the fact, too, is I mentioned earlier, and we talked about MLS, but I think this. The fact he plays for Schalke in Germany may have given him a bit of an ego, too.
Maybe.
Where he comes on and says, I'm going to do big things, right? And now you're taking
Ich habe Vorsprung. Ich spiele in Bundesliga. And they're like, okay. And then he gets out and he runs like crazy. Yeah. So I get that.
I think he may have got a bit of a big head playing in Europe.
Big head Europe. I wonder if that.
Because he
national team scout that regularly has this problem. So like, I wonder if Gio Reyna's going to show up and like everyone's going to I wonder if players in Europe are going to have this problem, and these MLS players are like, MLS is not a joke. Like, MLS is not a joke league now. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah, because we talked about how Higuain for Inter Miami had said, right, I'm going to come on Right, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette
and score 3 goals.
Bang 3 in. It's like, look at Higuain now. I mean,
I hope he bought a lot of I hope he bought a lot of cigarettes so he at least could do the first half of that plan.
Inter Miami's at the bottom of the table.
And he's not kicking in as many goals as he's earned.
Yeah, not any at all, actually. Yeah, it's a shame, honestly. But MLS not a joke league. It's serious stuff, and I think the fact that most of our players, we've got
national team
in
players.
Europe.
Right.
I mean, granted, Pulisic is hurt.
Pulisic is hurt.
Weston McKennie plays for Juventus.
We got Gio Reyna at it's at one of these Bundesliga clubs with the black and yellow.
I can't remember
that team.
That team. Yeah, that team. We have another guy.
Dortmund. That's where he's at.
Dortmund. Yeah. We have another guy in where's he at? I can't remember. Anyway, we have guys in Europe, right?
Yeah.
And they've got to realize that when they come back and they play for us, you're sitting at most of our starting 11 are
MLSers. Good.
I mean, but I do have a question, though.
Yeah.
And I have not found an answer. Maybe he's not in form. Maybe he's not in shape. But Weston McKennie, I mean, I guess where would you put him in our starting 11? But I wonder why he's not even on the bench. I mean, he is pretty young.
He's young.
But I think he's talented.
Maybe one of the players with the most upside. It's not an accident that he's playing at Juve.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's there are players that kind of have got this where it's like we don't know where you go.
Where would you put Weston
Where do you
McKennie?
go?
Like, he's really good, extremely talented, and I think I mean, I love his footwork, but where would he go? Especially
would he go on that lefty side where Vines is, and we just let him run, and we just are like, look, your job is just running up and down the line and creating stuff. I mean,
I could see that.
I could see putting him in a Vines spot, or like having him where Moore is. Those two spots might be okay for him.
That would work. I was thinking,
but I don't know. I mean,
there's no space in the midfield for him, honestly. I just
would you replace like
you almost can't play a 4-3-3 with him and keep most of the I think advantages of our midfield.
In the rotation with Areola, or
you'd have to. I think they'd be fighting for a starting spot, honestly, but
that's a possibility.
I mean, for Juve, I think he plays as like a midfielder, kind of.
Midfielder, and he'll play in the back a little bit from what I'd seen. But again, I hadn't seen a lot of Juve this season.
No, but I think we talked about this in terms of head coaches for national teams and whether they get even enough time with their kids.
Right,
because
they're trying development. They're trying development.
They're trying, they've got to look forward, but they also have to look at trying to win what's in front of them.
Right.
So I think Berhalter almost has the same problem that I can't remember his name right now, but.
In England?
Yeah.
Wow,
his name
Southgate.
The Gareth Southgate is facing where it's, you've got the kids, they're roared up and ready to go, they're revved up.
Yeah.
Right? But then you've got, we've got the thing in front of us. But then you also want to look towards development and team synergy. So I think...
World Cup's next year.
Yeah. And right? And in Qatar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, honestly... that might be why Weston McKennie isn't starting, because he's looking at who he's got, right? Some team synergy and who meshes the most with, right? Who meshes now? Because
Southgate also had another problem. I mean, he had a system, and then he had players that were clearly talents that you just put in, and you're just like, look, they don't fit, but they're clearly talents.
Yeah.
And so, I'm thinking about the guy from Aston Villa that they clearly needed some kind of change up. But I'm not. What's his name? Bothering me. Yeah, dropping names here.
Jack Grealish.
Right?
Grealish. It took me number 7 for Aston Villa, right?
Yeah.
I think Jack Grealish. But he's amazing. But then you're like, well, he can't start. We've got Kane. We've got
where's he go?
Yeah, we've got Raheem Sterling,
got
Kane up there. So it's like, where do you put
Where's
Grealish?
this guy go?
Yeah. And then you had the same problem with like Henderson coming on for in that final game, right? Where it's like, the more I thought about it, I was like, wait, Henderson could have started. I mean, he was their captain. Yeah. He was captain of Liverpool.
Well, I think that am I right that Jordan Henderson had some lingering injury?
He had an injury. He did. Yeah. But he came on even before the Jadon Sancho
right. He did.
switch out.
He came in earlier.
And in the Rashford
played a substantial role in that game.
And I think he actually did really well. But anyway, I think the World Cup, like you say, coming
sooner.
So
they've got a shorter window.
Yeah.
And so they've got to be like, look, right now we're like, these are important tournaments, but the big one is coming.
Yeah.
And so still kind of playing like, we're testing out recipes even in the Gold Cup.
And it feels like, honestly, that's what Southgate was relegated to. Basically just recipes. Like, okay, let's try to make this work. I don't have much time with you guys.
The European Championship, and it's still recipes.
You get it. You come in from your clubs, and I don't have much time to work with you guys.
Right.
That's why for the World Cup last time, I felt like England was playing the set piece cup. Because it's like, all right, we're going to try our hardest to score off corners we're all so tall. But,
right.
I don't know. I mean, Kane is tall. What's his name is tall.
Well, they had Rashford in on occasion.
Rashford, yeah. Can't remember his name. He was on with Leicester when they won. Then he went to Man U. Harry Maguire.
Slabheads.
Slabhead. Yeah. He's huge, but he can score off the corner. No problem. He's half a foot taller than most people.
So we're now looking at the final for the Gold Cup, though.
Yeah, and
Mexico it's against a hated rival, Mexico.
Yeah.
Who got in a scruff with Canada.
See, I ended up not watching that one. So I saw the result, but you're gonna have to take charge.
Oh well, so we'll kind of make it short then. But first off, kudos to Canada for giving Mexico a pretty strong Mexico a solid run. Kudos to their keeper for the save on the penalty. It was a good save, not a great penalty.
I did see that. Yeah.
And then, but it was I'm just remembering Herrera's late goal, and it was Pizarro again in another Inter Miami.
I was gonna say
player creating this chance.
And Herrera's good.
He's
honestly,
and he may be, whenever we play them, maybe the strongest player on the field. Though I'll say Funes Mori that guy is totally terrifying.
Okay.
That guy in the front for Mexico he looks like he's 7.5 feet tall, has a foot the size of a Toyota, and is fast and smart and a killer. And I'm shocked that he didn't put goals in against Canada. I think that they just effectively just sat on him the whole game and just tried to put somebody in his shorts. But I'm a little
had a good game. That's the only thing. That's the main thing I saw is that Buchanan had a good game.
Such a good player, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is his goal was fantastic, and so, but it was in some ways a culmination of about 60 minutes of just hard, lung-busting play from that guy all day long. Tajon Buchanan is a good player, and plays for New England.
I was gonna say he's another. Turner.
Whenever they were here, he had both he and Turner had bad games against NSC.
Yeah. But Buchanan generally is good.
Buchanan is a solidly good player.
Yeah.
Had a good game against us too.
Yeah.
In the earlier rounds, but he had a terrible game against NSC. Slipping on the turf and kind of getting lost and getting frustrated and stuff like that. And wasn't really kind of part of their game whenever he was playing against us here in Nashville. But man, against the United States, he had a really good game against us. And then, man, what a great game against Mexico. And I can't quite explain what happened at the very end. I mean, it was like in the 99th minute. I mean, that game just went on and on and on. It was just so chippy and so scruffy, and just a really hard game and sometimes to watch, because it kind of just got very unsettled and long bally.
Frustration from the players.
Frustration from both players, and in some ways, despite the fact that I think that Canada in the second half had a good deal of the run of play. Mexico did take over the game had the game in their hand for the entire first half, and then kind of took the game over for the last 20 or so minutes of the game, because I don't think that they wanted to go to extra time. I think they wanted to press and win. And Canada, as they hit about minute 85, they were like, "Whew! I guess we can coast for the last, the last 5 minutes." Little did they know that we were going to have to go another 20 minutes effectively. I was going to have to go to a minute 100, 15 more minutes.
Speaking of extra time,
it was went to almost 102 minutes in that game. It's just astonishing.
Speaking of extra time, we had the women's national team going to extra time against the Netherlands, and
penalties.
And on penalties, Rapinoe ended up scoring the winning one, right? Because Nayer had a big block, right? And I don't know anything about the Netherlands team, the Dutch team, but all I know is that we didn't look like we were in our normal, like, up to snuff kind of deal. I think that just generally
concerning. I mean, this is a win, and so like savor it. But a number of concerning performances from the U.S. women's team in this Olympics.
You had this 3-0 loss to Sweden, which was huge, and we're probably going to have to play them. I mean, because
Pia Sundhage is going to get us again, isn't she?
Yeah,
man,
that was destruction. I mean, it frustrated me watching this game though, because I think just again. I guess maybe I'm just frustrated because, right, I don't see Rapinoe and Morgan start together. And I get why, right? Because you don't want to overload that kind of position. And it's good to have Rapinoe like in the pocket, right, to come on later. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, when you're playing these teams like Sweden, like Australia, like New Zealand, I'm just like, we need them both starting.
So I wonder.
Rapinoe has trouble playing all 90. I think. He's getting a bit older.
This is going to be my question.
But yeah.
And this is a long-standing question with teams that sort of have got sort of established stars on them. Is what have we got behind them, right?
Yeah.
Who's coming up? And so we've got these players up in the front. We've got a Kristen Press, who I think is is such a strong player.
Her and Carly Lloyd, I mean, they up and coming, honestly.
I love Carly Lloyd.
I mean, and Press is faster than Mbappe. That's what I keep saying.
She's fast.
She's faster than Mbappe. But I think maybe like half a kilometer a second, she's faster than Mbappe, which is just
amazing.
Insane, yeah.
She's fast, and her game. I think that she's got a lot of upsides to her game.
Yeah. I think the Mewis sisters, I think, put in work. Rose Lavelle put in work. I mean,
there's an up and comer. That's an up and comer. Right? That was a sort of a player who kind of came out of nowhere in the Women's World Cup a couple of years back and really made a name for herself, and is really kind of putting a stamp on the team. But that's the problem, is that in some ways we're like, look, if that's good. The question is that good enough to keep up with the rest of the world that has got strong women's leagues that are developing their players and are developing systems, and
especially the Scandinavian countries, because they really strong knit players that have synergy too.
The Swedish team looks
the Swedish team looks super scary. I think one thing though, and I'm gonna knock on wood ahead of time, but we saw it happen to a lot of countries before, but I don't even want to say it, but I'm gonna say it.
Say it.
The World Cup curse. It happened to Italy, and they just redeemed themselves, right?
Yeah.
But the World Cup curse, I'm scared that it's gonna afflict us, and then we're not gonna know what to do, because there seems to be no reason why we're playing the way we're playing.
So I'm concerned.
I mean, we went on a huge win streak. Right.
There's what happens with the World Cup curse, which is two things. I think that they're intersecting things.
Okay.
One of them is a little bit of what we were talking about earlier, which is standard star players that have kind of locked down their positions.
Yeah.
But
and then
they've grown older, and their game hasn't changed that much. And so I think that there's that element. And this is not Father Time wins all. Father Time is undefeated.
It's true.
And so this isn't to take anything away from the starters. This is just to say that, like, look, your bot, playing at that level just takes a lot out of you, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is that when you play at that level and you've played the most games in those tournaments, there are teams out there that have that if we aren't changing, they've seen everything that we can do.
I was going to say, and that honestly probably is Rapinoe's problem too. They've seen everything. Right, that's why she comes on as a sub too.
Yeah,
I mean, and she honestly is less explosive than like Morgan.
Yeah,
too.
Right. I was Morgan.
Yeah, Hasselman's fast. She puts it away. I
And
mean,
right, she's got a good first step. She has a
Yeah, she
very
does, yeah,
powerful. She's a very powerful player.
Yeah.
Um,
Whereas I think for I think Rapinoe relies more on her awareness of what's going on the pitch at any given moment. I mean, extremely high soccer IQ.
yeah.
And yeah, just knowing where everyone is on her squad too.
Well, so what's
So what's next is, I guess, we try our best to beat probably Sweden. I mean, we've got to get through. I don't know. I mean, the final's probably going to be us and Sweden. I mean, that's my guess.
knock on wood.
Knock on wood, but.
Well, we'll have a longer and more detailed discussion of the women's team in another episode. Do you have anything else that we need to talk about?
Well,
we got the
USA.
NSC. Yeah, that's right.
Go USA, I guess. Yeah.
All right, so we've got and by the way, the NSC game this Sunday is actually up against the men's final for the Gold Cup.
Oh, that's right.
They're playing at the same
That's
time.
Right. That's right.
We have a decision to make. Which one gets watched on delay?
Well, I was gonna say one of them's getting. They're both getting watched.
They're both
It's
gonna
a
get
matter
watched.
of when. Yeah, I
All right,
forgot
happy
about
forward.
that. Yeah.
All right, so you said your piece?
I said my piece.
All right, NSC Fan TV.